All right, so we're back at it again. I wanted to talk about messaging for a minute. So I wanted to talk about messaging and how $1 million, the $1 million that I made actually could have been $5 million, maybe even $10 million if the messaging was right. The messaging was good. So again, if you don't know who I am, Tyron Spear. I've done about $2.4 million, a little bit more than that, online in the e-commerce niche. Started off in the Marine Corps, left the Marine Corps, Halliburton, Blackwater Security Group, and then transitioned into Amazon and then Shopify, and ultimately started doing direct response marketing on Shopify and Facebook ads, and then creating videos for YouTube that also help my product sell. So direct to consumer marketing. So messaging is everything. I spent about $350 on some messaging, and well, I say the data talk for another video, but I spent about $350 on my messaging. So it's probably some people that's probably cringing at that, people that really know better, but it worked. So that messaging got me to $1 million and beyond. And of course it wasn't that, when I say messaging, what I'm talking about is sales copy. So copy, landing page copy specifically. So I had messaging in video creatives, and then I also had messaging on the landing page, and that landing page has stood the test of time from about 2016 till now. And I'm just now upgrading that messaging because I wanted to perform better. So there are a lot of things. There's a lot of things to consider. So question is, if I'm just getting started, do I need to spend a lot of money on messaging? And the question is, and how I like to answer that question is, if you're still working your regular job, then I would look at this as an investment to you leaving your job and really, truly never looking back. So if you're working your job and you're getting started in e-commerce, private label is, or if your significant other is working, whatever the case may be, you need to get access to those funds to really dial in your messaging. If you want to, and again, messaging is copywriting. So to make sure that, you want to find a great copywriter. But in the other videos, I talked about diving into the problem and really understanding what the problem is, because it could go two ways. One, you can sit down and talk to the copywriter that you plan on spending money with, and I'm gonna get into some numbers here in a bit. I just told you I spent $350 and made $1 million off of that piece of copy. But there's a little bit more to that story. Part of it was, as people like to tell me being me. So what does that mean? So what that means is and probably just like you, right? So I'll read a bunch of books. I'll watch a bunch of videos, watch videos like this, books that I read on copywriting and I'm not a copywriter, but I understand it enough to revise some things. And I'm gonna tell you that story inside a bit. So we're at the 3-minute mark. So I got a long drive, so I can pump out a lot of these. So that's gonna be good, and I can upload them quickly too. So anyway, $350, the $350 that I spent on copy. So I spent that, made $1 million off of that copy, that landing page copy, and also the video that I created as well. What I was doing was I was writing some copy, and then I would send it to a copywriter, and I paid $350 for him to actually tweak the copy. So for him to really edit the copy. I was using him as like a copy chief is what they call it. So I was using him as an editor, and then he would come in and edit the copy that I had, and then I would get whatever conversion rate I would get from that, 3%, and sometimes maybe on some days even as high as like 10%, 7%, 14% on one landing page that we put together, or very minimum copy. And the reason why is because I was doing a lot of heavy selling in the actual videos that I was using on Facebook. So that helped too. So, but I was missing a lot. I was missing a lot of copy and messaging. So what I'm gonna do is, okay, I'm gonna hold that note too. So why you should continue to work and look at copy as an investment. So I understood the problem because I was already selling on Amazon, so I already had a lot of data. And what does that mean? Basically, I had a lot of customer feedback. So I knew the exact questions that customers had about my product. I also knew what the competition was selling their products for in the market and what problems they were going after. You keep hearing me say what problems they were going after, what problems, is because that's key. A lot of times, if you don't truly understand the problem, you'll put your product out there and your product is only solving one problem, whereas other people are telling you or positioning their product, and so people are positioning their product or telling you that their product solves three things. So there's three major problems and they understand these to be major problems because they sat down and did the research. And that's like the most boring thing ever, because it's really exciting to go grab a product, then put a landing page together, put the price on there, and maybe buy some sort of templated landing page with a countdown timer and some other stuff up on there, whatever may be on there, and then throw that together. And then now you may come to somebody like me and be like, hey, why isn't this selling? Because you spent this money on inventory, and you've went on Fiverr or even Upwork or whatever, and those places have their place in the market. Like people, people need those things, right? But that may not get you to the you sit here watching a video like mine on YouTube, and it's like, well, I saw this guy on YouTube say he spent $350 on some copy and he made $1 million off of it. And again, there's more to the story. There's more to be considered. I probably knew a lot more than what you knew at that time. And again, I was already spending money on Amazon, so I had a lot of data as well. And all of these things helped at that time period. And a lot of reasons why, I'm kind of going down another rabbit hole. I'm gonna come back though. A lot of reasons why you see people come out with courses like, yo, how many Facebook courses are they gonna come out with? How many YouTube courses are they gonna come out with? It's because things change. This stuff that I'm telling you right now works right now. Next year, it may be something completely different. And that's why you have to make sure that you're dealing with people who understand what's happening right now, whether it's the algorithm on Facebook, whether it's the algorithm on YouTube, or it's the algorithm in Google. You want people who are on the bleeding edge of that algorithm and understanding how these algorithms are working right now, because this is how we're marketing. And even if it's Instagram, same thing. So you want people that understands what's happening right now. And because like this year, Facebook came out with like three different huge changes. So if I came out with a Facebook course, I don't have one, but if I came out with a Facebook course, I would have had to make 3 changes to that course just this year alone. So that just so you understand why people are coming out with the same thing over and over again. I didn't understand it when I was getting started either. I was like, I just bought a course on Facebook. I hadn't went through it yet, but I just bought a course, and now this guy's coming out with all of these other different courses. It doesn't make any sense. But so that should be clear on that. So anyway, during the time that I launched, I spent $350. I had read books like Cashvertising, Scientific Advertising, Ogilvy on advertising, and I had actually read those books. So I kind of sort of knew like, oh, okay, there's a lot of psychology at work here. And I never went to school for psychology. I was in the Marine Corps. I was a shooter. I was military minded. So now I'm reading through this and I'm like, oh, okay, there's a lot of psychology here. So you're paying this copywriter to do this deep psychological work. Well, those guys typically charge about $20,000. So the only way you can get, let's just say $4,000 or $3,000 or $1,000. I said $20,000. Those guys charge $20,000 to write words on paper. But it's not just their writing words on paper. It's all of the research that they're doing about about the problems that exist in your market. And remember when I said market are people, about the problems that exist in these people and what these people are willing to pay to solve these problems, how these people What is the actual root of these people's problems on a psychological level? Because they need to work all of these things in. And I am at the 10-minute mark. So I'm going to close this one out and I'm going to jump right back into messaging for your e-commerce business.